This deep dive is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free.
You know when you're scrolling online and some product just catches your eye, like instantly.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
haven't even read anything about it, but something just clicks. Why is that? Why do some photos make you want to buy right away while others are just meh?
It's a great question. And, why do certain brands always seem to nail their product presentation?
Exactly. Feels like they have some secret sauce.
Well, it turns out those gut reactions aren't so random. Our brains are constantly scanning and processing of visual stuff. And when we see something appealing, boom, a whole cascade of responses kicks off.
Okay, so it's a brain thing.
It absolutely is. And the really cool part is science is showing these responses follow predictable patterns. It's not chaos. And these patterns, they directly influence what we decide to buy.
Yeah, fascinating. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, right? Neuroaesthetics in e-commerce. Precisely. We want to understand why our brains react so strongly to visual beauty, and crucially, how that shapes our buying habits online.
So we'll be looking at the specific brain areas that light up when we see a product we like.
Yep. And we'll break down how simple things, color, shape, even just how things are arranged on the page can trigger these powerful neural responses.
And the key part for listeners, I think, is the practical side. How can you actually use this stuff?
Right. We'll focus on research-backed strategies you can apply to your product presentation, ways to potentially, boost those conversion rates.
And importantly, this isn't just for big companies with huge budgets, is it?
Not at all. Many of these principles can be implemented affordably. Our mission here is pretty clear. Understand the science of beauty in product presentation so you can use that knowledge to optimize your store.
Okay, let's get into it. Neuroaesthetics. What exactly is it in the context of products?
So, at its core, neuroaesthetics is the study of how our brains perceive and respond to aesthetic experiences. It's where brain science meets beauty, basically.
So it's trying to find the biological basis for why we find things beautiful, not just, I like it because I like it.
Exactly. It started more with fine art, nature, things like that, but it's evolved. Now it covers design, architecture, music, and yeah, definitely commercial stuff like marketing and product presentation.
And businesses are starting to catch on.
Increasingly so. Smart companies see it as a competitive advantage. Understanding these neural triggers can really make a difference.
Makes sense. If you know what makes people tick visually, you're ahead of the game. So what are the big questions researchers are asking about products specifically?
They're looking at things like, how do specific visuals trigger those reward responses in the brain? What aesthetic features actually increase the intent to purchase? And how can we optimize presentations for the most positive neurological reaction?
And these aren't just academic questions, are they? They hit the bottom line.
Directly.
Yeah.
The business case is actually pretty compelling when you look at the numbers.
Oh, yeah. What kind of impact are we talking about?
Well, some studies show applying these principles can boost conversion rates anywhere from 15 to even 40%.
Wow, 40%. That's huge.
It is. And eye tracking studies, they show people spend about 42% longer looking at products presented in these, let's say, neuroaesthetically optimized ways.
Longer looking time, more engagement.
Right. And get this, people might be willing to pay up to 20% more for a product that's presented beautifully, even if it's the same exact product as one presented less appealingly.
Okay, that's significant. So the ROI could be pretty good then.
It can be really strong. Returns of 5 to 10 times the investment aren't unheard of. You see big brands like Apple, Nike, Tesla. They seem to intuitively get this. Their product presentation is consistently on point.
They definitely have a distinct aesthetic. So what's the science behind all this? What are the core theories?
There are a few key ones. First, there's processing fluency theory. Basically, our brains like things that are easy to process visually. Clean designs, clear images. They feel good to look at.
Easy on the eyes, easy on the brain.
Pretty much. Then there's resource matching theory. This suggests the best experience happens when something is just challenging enough for our brain, not too simple, not too complex. Kind of a Goldilocks zone of mental effort.
Like a good puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another important one is mental imagery theory. If a presentation helps you easily imagine yourself using or owning the product, that actually fires up reward centers in your brain.
Ah, so picturing yourself with it makes you want it more.
Yes. And finally, embodied cognition. This idea is that our past physical experiences shape how we see things. It explains why some shapes or arrangements just feel intuitively right.
Fascinating. It draws from psychology, biology, neuroscience, all coming together. Okay, let's zoom into the brain itself. What actually happens up there when we see a product we find beautiful?
Right, so there's this network of brain areas, sometimes called the beauty network, that becomes active.
Okay, the beauty network. Tell me about the key players.
First up is the reward system, especially an area called the nucleus accumbens. It lights up when we experience pleasure, good food, money, or seeing something beautiful.
The pleasure center, got it.
Then there's the ventral pallidum. It's involved in positive emotional responses and seems linked to purchase intent.
So, feeling good and wanting to buy.
Exactly. Another area is the posterior cingulate cortex. This gets busy when a product resonates with our sense of self, helping us imagine using it.
Connecting it to me.
Precisely. And the orbitofrontal cortex integrates the visual info with our emotions to help us assign a value like, how much do I want this?
And this all happens super fast, right?
Incredibly fast. We're talking within about 200 milliseconds. That's faster than conscious thought. So these initial reactions have a huge influence before we've even fully processed what we're seeing.
Wow. So our brains are making snap judgments based on aesthetics. What are the pathways involved? How does the info travel?
It starts in the occipital lobe at the back that's visual processing central. It breaks down color, shape, lines.
The raw data.
Right. Then it shoots off to emotional circuits, involving the amygdala and insula. They slap on an immediate emotional tag, like dislike, threat, reward.
The gut reaction generator.
If you could say that.
Yeah.
Then memory systems, especially the hippocampus, kick in, connecting it to past experiences or knowledge. Have I seen this before? Do I trust this brand?
Building context.
Yes. And finally, it all converges in the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making hub. It integrates everything, visual analysis, emotion, memory, to form a judgment and decide what to do. The smoother and stronger these connections, the more positive the response.
It's like a high-speed assessment pipeline. And what about the chemistry side, the neurochemicals?
Yes, the neurochemical cocktail. Seeing beautiful presentations triggers releases. Dopamine is key. It's about anticipating reward, that feeling of desire, wanting to acquire the product.
The wanting chemical.
Exactly. Then oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. It helps build emotional attachment, brand loyalty, that connection to the product.
Feeling connected.
Right. Serotonin contributes to feelings of satisfaction, well-being, just feeling good looking at it. And, interestingly, it can even reduce cortisol, the stress hormone.
So it literally makes the shopping experience less stressful.
It can, yes. It creates a more positive, relaxed state. So this whole mix contributes to that feel-good factor and builds positive brand associations.
Amazing. Okay, let's get really specific. What visual elements really speak to the brain most effectively?
We can break it down into key things like color, shape, composition, and even movement. Let's start with color. It's so powerful.
We all react to color, but what's the brain science say?
Our visual cortex definitely responds more strongly to certain color combinations,
Yeah.
especially those with good contrast or complementary relationships. But it's complex. While there might be some basic hardwiring, a lot of color responses learn, cultural.
Like red meaning different things in different places.
Exactly. Red in Western markets versus some Asian markets, for example. There are also principles of color harmony, often drawn from nature, that our brains tend to process more easily, more fluently. But what's often more important than universal appeal is color appropriateness for the product category.
Right, like you wouldn't use crazy bright colors for a serious financial product.
Precisely. fMRI studies show blues and greens can actually build trust in tech contexts. Warmer tones, like reds and oranges, can signal urgency, think limited time offers.
Strategic use of color. Okay, what about shape and form? Curves versus angles.
There's definite preference there. Neuroimaging shows curved shapes tend to activate reward centers more. Sharp, angular shapes. Sometimes they trigger a tiny, mild threat response in the amygdala.
Interesting. Less welcoming, maybe.
Perhaps. Symmetry is another big one. Our brains process symmetrical things really efficiently, and that ease of processing feels good, aesthetically pleasing.
Like a sense of order.
Yes. And there's this idea of optimal complexity. Again, not too simple, not too busy. The Goldilocks zone for shapes. And shapes that mimic natural forms, maybe aligning with the golden ratio, often get processed more fluently too.
Like the smooth curves of, say, an iPhone.
That's a perfect example. It feels natural somehow. Now, composition, how everything is arranged.
How does the layout impact the brain?
Our visual system automatically seeks balance. While perfect symmetry can feel static, asymmetrical balance often creates more interest. Then there's Gestalt, processing. Our brain loves to group similar or nearby elements. Compositions that make grouping easy. They feel better.
Making sense of the scene quickly.
Exactly. Clear figure ground separation, making the product pop from the background, reduces cognitive load. And a clear visual hierarchy, guiding the eye naturally. That activates reward centers more effectively than a jumbled mess. Eye tracking confirms this good composition holds attention longer.
It's all about guiding the eye and making it easy to understand. What about movement? We see more GIFs, more videos.
Motion is a powerful attention grabber. Our brains are hardwired to notice movement survival instinct, so dynamic elements immediately draw the eye.
Can't help but look.
Right. And moving presentations tend to hold attention longer, leading to stronger memory encoding. Even static images that imply motion can activate motion processing areas.
Like a picture of someone running.
Exactly. And the direction of movement can guide the eye. EEG studies show even subtle animation boosts attention and positive emotion compared to static images.
So lots of tools in the visual toolbox. Now, how do different formats, static images, video, interactive stuff, engage the brain differently?
That's key. Let's start with static images, still the bedrock. Right?
Yeah, most product pages rely heavily on them. What makes a static image work neurally?
Quality is paramount. High-res, well-lit photos activate reward centers much more strongly than blurry or poorly done ones. Multiple angles are crucial too. They reduce uncertainty, which actually calms the amygdala, the brain's worry ward.
Less anxiety about what you're buying.
Exactly. Showing the product in context being used activates that posterior cingulate cortex, helping people imagine it in their own lives. And integrating text smartly near the relevant visuals helps understanding, reduces cognitive load. Research even suggests photos from a slightly elevated natural perspective process best.
Okay, solid foundation. Now video, what's the neural edge there?
Video definitely has advantages. It engages more brain regions simultaneously than static images, leading to stronger memory encoding. Demonstrations are powerful. They activate mirror neuron systems.
Like we're doing the action ourselves.
Almost, yes.
Yeah.
It creates a vicarious experience and videos that tell a story. They engage language and went into emotional centers more deeply. Plus, they just hold attention longer, giving more time for those positive connections to form. Videos focusing on usage seem particularly effective for driving purchase intent.
So it's a richer, more engaging experience neurologically. What about the really cutting-edge stuff? VR, interactive 3D models.
That's where it gets really interesting. Interacting with a product in VR can activate the same brain regions as physical interaction. That creates a much stronger sense of potential ownership.
Wow, almost like you already have it.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Interactive 3D models that let you spin the product around. They boost activation in spatial processing areas. Engaging multiple senses, maybe adding sound, creates stronger neural links, better memory. These immersive techs can even activate regions associated with physical presence, leading to stronger emotions and more purchase confidence.
The closer to real-life interaction, the stronger the brain response. Okay, we've covered the what in the brain. Let's revisit the why, the underlying psychology driving this aesthetic attraction.
Right, the neural stuff is the hardware, but these psychological mechanisms are like the software running on it.
Makes sense. What are the core concepts?
Processing fluency is a huge one. We talked about it. The easier our brain processes something, the better it feels. Clear, organized presentations, lower cognitive load, make the experience pleasant. There's a strong link. Fluency equals preference. It's why clean pages beat cluttered ones.
Keep it simple, keep it clear. What about emotions and memory?
Absolutely critical. The amygdala tags experiences with emotion. Positive emotions linked to a product presentation make the product more memorable, more desirable. These emotional memories are encoded more strongly.
They stick better.
Much better. Presentations that connect to the customer personally, maybe solving a problem or fitting their lifestyle, activate self-referential networks. Even nostalgia, evoking positive past feelings, can activate reward circuits and boost perceived value. Research shows positive emotional presentations lead to higher recall and purchase intent.
Feelings drive memory and action. What about social influences? Culture.
We're social creatures, right?
Yeah.
Our preferences aren't formed in a vacuum. Seeing others endorse a product can activate conformity networks we want to fit in. Cultural aesthetics matter too. Different patterns resonate differently neurally across cultures.
And status symbols.
Definitely. Presentations signaling status or group identity activate reward and identity processing regions differently depending on the social context. That's why testimonials and social proof are so effective. They tap into these deep-seated social instincts.
It's a blend of visual, emotional, and social triggers. Okay, let's bring it all together. How can businesses practically apply this stuff in e-commerce and retail?
Right, the actionable strategies. For online product pages, Aim for maybe 3 to 5 high-quality images, different angles, context shots. A good rule of thumb for text-image ratio is often around 30% text, 70% image, but test it.
Test, test, test.
Always. Use a clear visual hierarchy, compelling visuals first, then key benefits, then details, and place those Buy Now buttons where eye tracking shows people naturally look. Simple A/B tests on these elements can yield big conversion lifts.
What about physical stores?
Coherence is key. A consistent store, aesthetic colors, lighting, design reduces cognitive load, makes browsing more pleasant. Organized displays logically make it easy to scan. Use lighting strategically to highlight products, create mood, and encourage touch. Letting people interact activates more sensory areas. Studies show this can increase dwell time and spending.
Then mobile, it's different, right? Smaller screen, touch interaction.
Yes, requires adaptation. Simplify the visuals, maybe 30–40% less complexity than desktop. Designed for touch, make buttons easy to tap. Interactions feel natural. Optimize for vertical scrolling. And consider the thumb zone. Put key buttons where thumbs can easily reach them. Mobile-optimized neuroaesthetic designs show really strong conversion improvements.
Makes sense to tailor it to the device. Now, do these principles apply differently depending on the product type, like luxury versus everyday goods?
Absolutely. For luxury or high-involvement products, think expensive cars. Jewelry, the presentation needs to signal exclusivity, quality, status. Ample white space, minimalist design, premium material textures in photos, these activate reward and status processing areas. Storytelling about heritage or craftsmanship boosts emotional connection.
Creating that aspirational feeling. What about fast-moving consumer goods stuff you grab at the supermarket?
There, it's all about speed and standout. High contrast, simple, bold designs that can be processed in milliseconds are key for shelf breakthrough. Package design is critical, guiding the eye instantly to the brand and key benefit. Neuroimaging is sometimes used here to test package effectiveness. Emphasizing sensory appeal, juicy fruit, creamy texture works well too.
Grab attention fast. What about digital products, software, services, things you can't physically show?
That's a challenge. Interface aesthetics become hugely important. A clean, intuitive UI reduces cognitive load, feels good to use. Visualizing the experience and benefits is crucial. Show, don't just tell. Use screenshots, short videos, diagrams to make abstract benefits concrete. B2B might lean more structured, B2C more emotional, but visualization helps both.
So you have to make the intangible tangible through visuals. Okay, we're implementing these ideas. How do we measure if they're actually working?
Measurement is crucial for iteration. The high-tech options involve neuroimaging. fMRI shows where in the brain activity happens. EEG shows when it happens with great timing. Eye tracking maps exactly where people look. Combining these gives the richest picture.
But those require labs and experts, right? What can most businesses do?
Totally. There are more accessible behavioral and psychological methods. Implicit association tests, IATs, uncover unconscious biases or associations. Measuring response times can indicate processing fluency. Simple surveys, while subjective, still provide useful data on preferences and feelings. And web analytics tools offer heat maps showing where users click and scroll, great proxies for attention.
So even without a brain scanner, you can get good data.
Definitely. You can correlate these behavioral metrics with your sales data. The key is translating lab findings or established principles into real-world tests like A/B testing that fit your budget. And always implement ethically, be transparent, enhance the experience, don't manipulate.
Good point. Looking ahead, what's the future of neuroaesthetics in business? Any cool trends emerging?
It's moving fast. We might see real-time neural feedback systems, websites, adapting visuals based on your brain's immediate reaction. AI will drive deeper personalization, predicting individual aesthetic preferences. VR will offer even more immersive experiences. And ensuring aesthetic consistency across all touchpoints will become even more critical.
Wow, hyper-personalization based on brain data.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It raises ethical questions, of course. But the trend is towards leveraging individual differences, mapping neural preferences, considering demographics, even personality types, to create more resonant experiences.
Which brings us back to ethics. How do businesses use this responsibly?
It's about enhancement, not manipulation. Be transparent about why you're designing things a certain way. Be culturally sensitive. The goal should be mutual value, a better experience for the customer that also benefits the business by building trust and loyalty.
Okay, for a business listening right now, feeling inspired but maybe a bit overwhelmed, what's the first practical step? How do they get started?
Start simple. Assess your current presentations honestly. Where are the weak spots? Use the principles we discussed: clarity, quality, composition. Identify priorities, maybe your top-selling product page or the checkout flow. Allocate some resources, even if small. Prep your team. Focus on low investment, high impact changes first, better photos, decluttering layouts.
Start small, iterate, and testing is key.
Absolutely essential. Set up A/B tests. Test one change at a time. Identify your key metrics: conversions, time on page, add to carts. Treat it as continuous improvement. Analyze, learn, adapt. Look at competitors too. Even basic A/B testing gives you invaluable data on what resonates with your audience.
And to make it stick long term.
Integrate it. Make neuroaesthetic principles part of your standard design and marketing processes. Foster collaboration between teams: design, marketing, analytics. Stay flexible. Keep learning about new research and tech. Make it systematic, not just a one-off project. That's how you build a lasting advantage.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really highlights the power of connecting the science of the brain with the art of presentation.
It really does. The potential benefits are substantial better conversions, happier customers, stronger loyalty, and standing out from the crowd.
Mm.
And it's versatile, applicable across industries and business sizes.
And the key takeaway feels like it's about creating better, more intuitive experiences, not just tricking people. Even small, science-informed tweaks can make a big difference if you test them.
Exactly. In today's noisy digital world, understanding the science of visual appeal gives you an evidence-based way to create presentations that truly connect, engage, and convert on a deeper neurological level.
Looking to implement these neuroaesthetic principles in your Shopify store? The Growth Suite application helps merchants create visually optimized product presentations that align with natural brain preferences, transforming ordinary product pages into neural conversion engines that make products truly irresistible. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free.